G'day folks, it's Nathan here, FBR 375, and as many of you know me from FBR Contracting. So today I thought I'd do a little bit of content around zeroing thermal units just to show people how I do it. So I get asked quite regularly for best techniques and that sort of thing, and there's a lot of discussion around this concept of a single shot zero, which is obviously a good and strong selling point for a lot of the thermal units that are out there, but in reality land, is that really how you do it? And yeah, you can zero with a single shot, but if you want to make sure that your rounds are going to be on target when you're out in the field, there's probably some better things you can do to make sure that's actually the case. So what I tend to say to most people is that zeroing a thermal unit is not dissimilar from zeroing a rifle, where initially you need to do a bolt adjust, so you'll fire a shot at generally closer range to make sure that you're on the target. If you're not, you adjust off that to get you at your centre of target at your desired range. And then you move out to some further ranges and confirm and refine your zero as you go. And then do a confirmatory group at the back end to make sure that your group is on target and doing what it needs to be. So that's generally how I zero, but today what I'm going to do, a couple of things actually. So we're going to zero the rifle I have here in front of me, so I'm about to head out on a predator control job, and I just need to make sure that this 223 wedge-tail rifle is zeroed, and at the moment I've got a Pulsar XL60 LRF Thermion 2 thermal unit up on top, which is one of the thermal units that obviously I use exclusively pretty much Pulsar gear, but I also sell these as a Pulsar dealer as well, so pretty hands-on with the equipment that I'm using. So the first step that we need to do is what I call the bolt adjust. So for me, I've got an array of targets which I'll show you a little bit later on, out at 65 metres, so I'll typically fire a single round at my target at 65 metres to confirm whether I'm on or not. And if I'm not, then I'll go in a little bit closer and shoot until I am on target, and then make a adjustment from there. So that's your first big adjustment, just to make sure that you're actually on the target. Before we get too much into the shooting part of the video, there's a couple of things you can use as thermal targets. So basically you need to have something that's hotter than the surrounding environment, and something where you can see you're full of shot, so something with a backstop, etc. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Pulsar, when you buy one of their units, I'll give you one of those. You can see there, so that's a thermal target. They last for about 10 to 15 minutes, so you can basically stick that on whatever you like, cardboard box, bit of plywood, whatever sort of work you typically use as a target, and then that'll maintain a hotspot for you to engage and zero off. For me, I just use one of these butane burners, and I run a whole series of AR 500 gongs, so steel targets of varying sizes at varying ranges. So as I said, typically I zero for thermal units on at 65 initially, and then I'll step it out to 100 to make sure I'm getting the level of precision I need for the work that's being conducted. So what we'll do now is I'm just going to fire a single shot out of my 223 with the XL60 on, and we'll see where that full shot lands, and then we'll go from there for a bold adjustment to get us on target. Okay, so as you could probably hear from that shot fired there, we just fired a single round at the 65 metre target, and you can hear that hit still. I can see that pretty clearly from here, and we're pretty well centered, so a little bit left, maybe half an inch, and we're probably about 4 inches low. So what we'll do now is we'll make that adjustment. Okay, so what you can see there is our target out at 65 metres, and we're about to make that first adjustment. So as I said, we're probably around 3 inches low, and centre enough that it's probably not really worthwhile adjusting for left and right at this stage. So first step, just click into the main menu. Zeroing profile A is fine. Go down to our range, which will be 100 metres shortly. On the crosshair there. Okay, increase the magnification so we get some precision. 20 power is good. Okay, and then we're going to freeze frame on target where we were aiming. So what our actual hold was. So you can see there, roughly holding on centre of gong. Now we're going to do the actual adjustment. So as I said, no left and right or windage adjustment on this one because it's pretty well centered enough to not worry about it. Okay, but vertically we're going to move the X down where our round hit from where we were holding, which is roughly about there. Okay, then we're going to press and hold. Okay, we're going to press and hold again. Okay, there we are, zeroing coordinates saved, press and hold. Press and hold. Okay, and now we're good to fire our second shot, which should be now centre of mass on that 65 metre target. So we'll go ahead and do that. So as you can see there, guys, we've fired that first round. It's hit a couple of inches low. We've just gone through the sequence internal to the scope to basically highlight the point of impact on target. We've saved those zeroing coordinates, and now we're going to fire a confirmatory round at the 65 metre target to make sure we're good. And once, if that's good, which I'm assuming it's going to be, we'll then step out to 100 metres, where we'll first walk up and go and heat up the steel up there, so it's a little bit hotter because that's in the shade. It's a bit hard to see. Okay, so we're just taking a centre hold again on our target. And you can't really see that through the scope obviously from here, but that's fairly well a centre hit, centre of mass, so that's good. We can move forward and go and heat up our 100 metre target. So as you can see there on the target, we've got the first hit down the bottom there slightly low, and now second hit slightly high, and I said maybe half an inch left of centre, but not enough to worry about at this stage. So what we'll do now is go and heat up our 100 metre target, and then we'll go back and shoot that for a confirmatory. So we've got the bigger gong out at 100 metres now. I'm just going to heat that up. Doesn't matter whether you heat the front or the back, save the pain a little bit. Doesn't need to be super hot, just hot to touch. And it'll give you a nice clear target. So as you can see there, up at 100 metres now, we're just back down from heating that target up, and that's obviously plenty hot enough for what we're going to do next. So we're going to fire the first shot, just make sure we're actually on the steel, and assuming we hit the steel, we'll then put another couple in so we've got an actual group to adjust off as per you would with any other type of zeroing activity. So here we go. Okay, good hit. Good hit. And good hit. Okay, so we'll unload the rifle now, and we'll go up and have a look and see how we did it and make adjustments accordingly. So as you can see on the target there, 3 good hits. a little bit to the left, so probably maybe an inch off the centre in that respect, and a little bit high. So we're probably 3 inches high this stage of where we need to be, but a nice tight group, so a good group to adjust off. So we'll go and make those adjustments and we'll bring our point of impact back to centre. All looking good. So having just checked that 100 metre target, we're now going to go ahead and make those adjustments. So as we saw on the target there, we're roughly 3 inches high, approximately an inch left, so fairly simple adjustment. So main menu, zeroing, 100 metre zero, zeroing profile. Okay, so first thing, we're just going to dial that up a little bit so we can see it. 20 power's great at that range. The freeze frame, center mass. That'll do for the purposes of what we're doing. Then we're going to make the adjustment by moving the red X to our point of impact. So a little bit left, not much, and then a little bit high. Just move it up to around there. Okay, so that's pretty accurate to where that group formed on the target. Press and hold. Press and hold again. And that's zeroing coordinates saved, ready to re-engage and see where our group sits now. So as per before, we've made those adjustments. We're now going to fire a 3-round group at 100 metres. Good hit. Good hit. There we are. Let's clear that rifle. Clear. Okay, so I can actually see up on the target now they are pretty much all centre mass, but we'll walk up there and have a look and make sure we're happy with what's going on there. So we're back up at the 100 metre target, and as you can see there, those shots are pretty well centred on that gong at 100 metres, so that's all good. I'm pretty comfortable with that. One of the things you do find with thermal is you can chase small groups, but shooting steel, obviously you don't necessarily get as tight a group because you can't tell within the actual paint pattern where the round struck, but it's certainly accurate enough for the purposes of what I'm doing and centered where it needs to be centered. So all very good. But there, as you can see, it's not a difficult process. So bolt adjustment first, make sure you're on target. Once you're happy you center at a closer range, step out to the range where you want the actual firearm zeroed at with the thermal, which in this case is 100 metres. Okay, and then fire a couple of groups. First group, make sure you're on steel, then adjust off the group, and obviously when you adjust off the centre point of impact for the group. So again, here on this one, look, the reality is you could try and make an adjustment off that, but you'd be trying to adjust for half an inch, which is probably not worth trying to chase with a thermal unit. So all good. Anyway, hopefully that was helpful. We'll go and wrap up back on the range bench. So there you have it, guys. There's my perspective on how you zero a thermal unit. So again, just recapping, it's not a lot different to zeroing any other form of optic. As I said earlier, I don't really believe in the one-shot concept because it's very hard to zero or confirm anything off one group. Just in case you fired a bad shot, you might end up chasing rounds all over your target all day, so you're better off firing a group and adjusting based off your mean point of impact, which is that centre point in amongst the grouping that you provide on the target. If you've had an issue and you've shot a fairly poor group, then just shoot the group again. In the big scheme of things, you'd rather have that confidence in the gear, make sure you're zeroed and properly on, as opposed to save a few dollars on a few rounds. So bolt adjustment at your chosen closer range, which for me is 65 metres to make sure you're on steel. Adjust to get you centred at that closer range, and then step out and fire groups at 100 metres. So 3 round groups are fine, which is what I've done today. You can fire more if you want to. That's also nothing wrong with that. Then once you have that first grouping, then adjust for precision off that first grouping to get you centred at 100 metres, utilising that grouping to adjust off. Anyway, as I said earlier, I hope that was a useful thing. Feel free to ask questions. There's a million different ways to skin a cat, pun intended. So there's other people who will zero thermal differently to that. There's some people who use the single shot technique. That's all fine. But from my perspective, I like to zero that way. And then I'd tend to actually find myself doing a little bit of plinking just on various targets at various ranges, just so I know exactly where bullet placement in relation to sight placement is going to be on those targets while I'm out in the field. So practice makes perfect, and the reality is you've got to practice with your gear to make sure you're on. So don't leave that part out. Make sure you put some more rounds down range and just are hitting where you actually intend them to be. Anyway, all the best. Ask questions as you see fit. Cheers.